And we are live, people, just so you know.
So stop talking about orc testicles?
Yeah. The orc testicle conversation is now over. For the time being. Blue Jay, what's up? Welcome, chat. Welcome, everybody, players, to another D&D evening. Second D&D evening this weekend for me. Nutty, as we had a D&D evening last night with Het, our DM. Very interesting encounter with a young dragon and some cultists and dragonlings. Several unconscious bodies. Luckily, no one died, but it was really good fun. Awesome encounter. Click goes Drax driving on the railway tracks. Oh, come on, Drax. So we do have a bit of an announcement this evening. I'll let Alishodriss make the announcement, considering it concerns him and his family. So, Alishodriss, take it away.
I'd like to congratulate Shadow Reaper. I fucked that up.
Shadow Rapier.
Shadow Reaper and Lithia for them wedding today. Thank you, Tazzy.
So there you go, guys. Shadow Reaper and Lithia, I believe it is. Congratulations on your nuptials this day. I mean, normally I would say fucking fools, mugs, you don't get married, but hey, congratulations, guys.
Many blessings.
So, anyone else have any announcements before we get started? Yo, Reaper, what's up, man? Congrats, dude. So if no one else, if no one else has any other announcements, do you really need to urinate, Drax? Thanks for that announcement, dude. Pretty much, I don't think we have any more announcements. We've got no real announcements for the channel, apart from obviously continuing D&D Sundays every Sunday until further notice, until obviously Het's job gets a little bit hectic, which it does. We may have to cut back to every second Sunday. See how we go. I'll play that by ear at this stage. Apart from that, nothing else. We go to join the party. Have lots and lots of drinks for me, so you don't remember anything. It'll be a great day. We've got nothing really. Apart from those of you that have PUBG and haven't got it installed, reinstall it. I'm going to be putting PUBG back into the live stream rotation. Definitely, they've made some changes to it. There's a brand new map, so I'm going to be playing that a little bit more frequently. And Rainbow Six is going back in, so we're going to be doing a lot of PUBG and a lot of Rainbow Six, a little bit of Call of Duty on the from time to time, probably off stream more than on stream. Scum is going to be regular as well. So those of you that are playing Scum, we're on the Christchurch server. That's been a bit of fun. We hope the owner of the server should be back in about a week, 10 days. We're gonna I'm gonna ask him to put the mechs back on the server with maybe a few more puppets and stuff, make it a little bit more difficult to get stuff. But apart from that, we shall get into the recap from last week's episode. So for those that were not here last week or have missed the VOD, which is on the YouTube, !YT in the chat to get YouTube details. After continuing further into the bowels of the sewers, you guys entered into a larger round chamber where the grey water merged, and Alishodriss found a secret door. And with a switch, Ellie heard movement in the water, then behind her cast Mage Hand, and started poking around in the water, which provoked and angered a giant pooey demon who appeared from the depths of the grey matter. Fiala took on the form of a large constrictor snake and soon found herself being swallowed like a giant noodle, while a couple of shadow demons emerged from the shadowy walls. The battle raged back and forth for about 30-40 minutes. Then finally Sadiq dealt the killing blow to the spherical demon with his silver dagger, ending the fray in a shower of poop and goop and disgusting all sorts of bits and pieces. You then, with that, pressed the switch on the wall, which didn't open previously, had then opened. You found yourself in a square chamber that was well lit, with a door at the other end. Alishodriss, after unlocking the door after much discussion between you guys about whether you should just open the door and go through or whatever. Finding the door was actually locked, opened it, and made your way into the heart of the Thieves' Den. Alishodriss announcing your arrival in the Thieves Can't code that thieves use. You then spoke with the leader of the Thieves Guild, Paradym. You made a deal to return Riffic and the scrolls. The deal was essentially for a favor. In some time in the future, they will contact you, and you will do a favor for them. Also, Alishodriss added a bit of a amendment to that deal, asking that the guild look out for and try and rescue Riffic's family if indeed they are being held hostage, which they did agree to. You then left the sewers via another tunnel, which led you to a ladder, which led you back out. That wasn't back through the stinking sewer of the city. So you went up the ladder, ended up in the forest just outside the city walls. You then discussed what you needed to do, and it was decided that Sadiq and Naemaris would take Riffic back to the barracks, and the Het, Fiala and Alishodriss would go to the Arcanus and talk to Thorfi. A discussion ensued with Thorfi, which became heated, seeing Het storm out of the room, then destroying the hallway in a fit of anger. Alishodriss and Fiala gave Thorfi the third degree, and he divulged some substantial information. Naemaris was then informed by Breton, as she handed Riffic over, that she'd been excommunicated from the Temple of Helm by breaking her oath as a paladin and not handing over Alishodriss to the city guard to stand trial for the murder that she had committed.
I did no such thing.
After all this, Naemaris headed towards the arena to find out that Valda Grimm was indeed defending her champion's title in 2 days' time, and had to go back to see Breton to put her name down as league challenger. Returning to the guild house, Jeremy asked for a name for the party. This name has been slightly amended from what you guys discussed last week. I know, Het, you weren't there for a new discussion that the rest of the players and I had about the name for your party, and the name that was decided upon, which I think was actually turns out to be pretty good, is the Lions of Valda. Was essentially born as the group of adventurers that now have become almost the protectors of Valda as well, and are trying to thwart the forces of evil from breaking the veil between the hells and the material plane. And this is where we'll pick up our story with the group. I think most of you were still in the guild hall preparing to eat and drink before heading to bed for the evening. In that time before coming back to the guild, I know Fiala had wandered off to do a little bit of shopping.
Yes, I did.
And she has completed the task that she asked me that she wanted to do. That has been done. Naemaris, in that time, went back to the barracks and expressed her interest to fight Valda for the championship of the Valda Arena, which she has done also. So we basically have you guys back in the guild house, ready to eat and drink in celebration, I guess, of returning from the sewers unscathed. Relatively unscathed, should I say. Not completely, but so back to you guys. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna walk in with a slip of paper in my fist and go up. I'm assuming they're all at a table together, and say,
More or less, yeah.
guys, yeah, I'm gonna say, guys, have you guys seen Het?
No, nobody.
I'm guessing he's not sitting here with us.
I believe Het went more or less straight to his room,
Correct, he did.
if I'm remembering correctly.
All right, I'm gonna go up and talk to Het real quick. I'll be right back. So somebody could pour one for me. Thanks. And I'm gonna go up to his room with this slip of paper in my hands, and I'm gonna be talking to myself like, hey, Het. No. Hello there. No. Shut up, Het, and listen. I have something to say. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I got this. And I'm gonna knock on the door.
You knock on Het's door.
Hello, who is it? What do you want?
It's Fiela. You decent?
Yeah, I guess so. Come in.
Okay. I'm gonna walk in. What does the room look like?
It's a standard kind of guild room. All the guild rooms are much the same. It's probably 20 by 20. They're not small, but they're not large either. Sort of 20 feet by 20 foot room. It's got a single wooden framed cot style bed with a small side table with obviously a candle on it. Small window, because I think Het was on the outside of the guild house, so they have a small window directly across from the door. There'll be a small writing desk or some form of desk that you can sit at and pen letters or things like that, and a small chest at the end of the bed to store weapons and armor when you're sort of not out adventuring.
Het is sitting at the desk with his back to the door.
I'm gonna walk up to him and kind of turn to face him and say, hey, I know this is probably a bad time considering what Thorfey's hallway looked like back there, but you know what? You'd think being around all these crazy humans and orcs and Naemaris and whatever the hell Ali is, that I'd be better at speaking in this, but I'm not. So what you said to Thorfey made me realize all you're going through lately. And I know because we've both lost ones that we love, and it seems we've both been betrayed in our lives. And if there was something I could give you from the heart to say thank you for what you set up there and for all you've done for us, well, and then I hand him the paper and look him in the eyes and say, your brothers would be proud of you, Het, and we are too. And I've learned that death is just the end of one adventure and the beginning of another. I've seen it happen, so you're not alone. And that's all I wanted to say.
Het appreciates you coming to see him and speaking like this. Kind of put me on the spot a little. Not really good at talking one-on-one when it isn't joking around. I guess. I mean, yeah, thanks. I kind of need some time alone with my thoughts, but I do appreciate you coming to see me. Yeah, if I can just have a night just to be alone, that would be lovely, but I'll catch up with you tomorrow, eh?
No problem. And then I'm gonna message Het what is on the paper.
I can tell him.
Leave.
I'll tell him now.
Ah, good. Thanks.
I've got it written here. So Het, do you have a look at the piece of paper? As Fiala turns and leaves the room, closes the door behind her, and leaves you to your solitude. Do you look at the note that she passed you?
Het waits till she leaves for sure, and then he goes over and locks the door. He then walks back to the solitary window and reads the paper.
As you unfold, it's only a small piece of paper. It's nothing. It's not like a letter or anything like that. But it would have been big enough that you would have seen it in her hand as she walked in the door. As you open it up, it says bill of sale or receipt, paid in full. Please pick up finished product in 2 days from the Erif's Anvil blacksmith in the Queen's Farthing district. Doesn't say what it is or what's you need to be picking up, but it's clearly a bill of sale for something that's been commissioned, and you need to pick it up in 2 days in 2 days time from Erif's Anvil.
Okay, Erif's Anvil, 2 days.
Yep.
Thanks.
ERIF is the
Yours?
Erif,
Alright.
not Ears.
Sweet.
Yours?
That's exactly how I spelled it.
Yeah, Ars.
Yours?
So yeah,
Ass's Anvil.
Ars's Anvil. Yep. Okay, that works.
Hit folds the receipt up and tucks it tightly into his vest. He goes back over to his desk and makes a note in his book. He keeps his book of, like a diary, I guess you'd call it. He makes a note. Fiella has made a gesture. Buy her a drink at some stage. And thanks for being a kind person. Then he makes another note. Actually, the entire team has been pretty kind, really. Buy them all a drink. And then he takes his, or doffs his equipment and settles into bed for the night, or the evening, or whatever day it is.
It is getting close to probably sun's probably gone down by now with everything you guys sought to achieve for the evening. So you doff
I
your
don't
armor.
think he really sleeps, but he just tries to get rest.
So in that time, like as I said, you're pretty restless for the most part, and I don't think you sleep very well at all. I mean, you get enough sleep to rest, but it's not a real restful, peaceful sleep. Obviously, thoughts of now your second brother that has been slain by now what you believe to be Kosis. You're pondering how was he able to breach the veils, what aid has he had to breach the veil for a short time to be able to potentially target your family or target your brothers is what you assume this is. You can't think it being anything else now that 2 brothers have been killed much in the same way. The words of your father from the message still ring in your head, and again that anger and frustration is still quite fresh and on the surface, so you don't really rest too well for the evening. But so that's pretty much your lot. The rest of the group, while this was going on, you guys are down back in the guild house still. Did you order food and drink, or were you going to head to your own rooms? What was everyone else doing?
I went back down to drink.
Okay, so you went and joined the rest of the group. So what will we drinking, ladies and germs?
Probably mead.
Mead.
I'm gonna give everyone 200 gold each and keep the bag for Hit,
Okay.
which I'll give him later on, which is for the job that we just did.
The share of that. Okay, cool. Oh yes, that's right. So yeah, so 200 gold each. Mark that into your sheets for the completion of returning Riffic to the barracks for trial. Yeah, stay tuned, chat. All the information will come to light eventually. So Jeremy brings you guys out an assortment of ale, mead, some food, some harder liquor if you wish, and you guys sit down. You have a meal. Those that want to have a meal, those that don't eat can just drink if you want to, and just try and get through and process the goings on of the last day, the giant undead snakes that you encountered in the sewers, the rats, the shadow demons, the choker demons, and then of course the large stericor demon, which all seems to tie into this prophecy. The level of undead activity and fiendish activity around the realm seems to be increasing. So you guys, you've had a rough few weeks, actually, with your sea voyage to Het's home, and then your trip back, and dealing with all this sort of stuff. So you take this opportunity to sort of unwind a little bit and relax. So after your meal, do you guys just then retire to each of your rooms? You all have a room each?
Nope.
Nope.
I decide to stay downstairs and carry on drinking my whiskey.
You're going to continue to drink?
I'm going to my room.
You're going to your room. Alishodriss, as you step into your room, you close your door, and after about an hour or so, you hear something, and you sort of turn around. What's that noise? And a slip of paper has been slipped under your door. And you pick it up, and you unfold it, and you read it. I DM'd you what the contents of said letter.
Yep.
So you now have that to ponder before you turn in for the evening.
Do I do it tonight, or do
You
I wait
can-
till
you
tomorrow
can-
night?
whatever you want to do with that information, you do with it what you will. You just let me know what you're going to do, and we can go down that road. Who else is turning in?
Just before I turn in, I'm going to go up to Naemaris and say, just had a brief message from our old friend Cass.
Mm-hmm.
He's waiting for us, and apparently he's got the family that we asked the Black Fang to
Yep.
find.
Correct.
Right. Let me get rid of this Valda tomorrow, and then we can go deal with that.
Yes, I think we need to kind of... Well, now that we've got access to the teleporter, we can probably get there a little bit soon. And then I'm going to retire.
Right. So you head up to your room, and indeed, the message you received, you've passed a little bit of that information on. Again, Sadiq, you're still fairly restless, especially now that you received this message from Cass as well. Your whole being just wants to get there and deal with it as soon as possible. Purely because you want to see this entity gone. It's a blight on the world, an absolutely abomination of humanity. And you sleep enough to get a good night's rest and regain your full HP, but it's still very restless for that reason. Fiala, do you turn in as well?
Is Naemaris still down there drinking?
She is still. She's remaining in the guild hall. She looks not drunk at this point, but she's definitely into the bottom of her mug of whiskey at this point. She looks different to you somewhat, just a little dejected and
Broody?
kind of broody, just not really herself.
I'm gonna sit down next to her and go, right, Nene, what are we drinking?
I just look at her and I'm like, well, I'm drinking whiskey. You can have whatever.
Whiskey it is. What did the dwarf drop off go well today?
It was fine.
Not gonna tell me why the long face?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I went to the arena and I saw that I got my champion. Well, really, my bully that I want to go and kick ass from.
Right, who do we kill?
Valda.
Oh.
So with that word, you see that come across her face, that intense furrow of the brow and the look of absolute, not hatred, but just kind of absolute disdain for that name. Val, by the way, guys. Valda, not Valda.
I'm sorry.
But so you
Valda.
that disdain just comes across her face just when that name passes her lips, and she grips the handle of her mug almost so tight that you can hear the the creaking and cracking of the timber beneath her hand.
All right. So is this something
Trust
you
you,
have
Baz.
to do? Is this something you have to do alone? I'm guessing.
No,
And
you
I'll-
can watch if you like. I'm going to rip her to shreds.
Do you think you should get a good night's sleep first?
I'll be there in a minute.
So, what I am going to get you to do this. So we'll say this conversation takes place over the next sort of hour, and in that time, Naemaris, you down 3 large mead cups, not small whiskey tumblers, but large ale mugs of whiskey. I'll get you to make a Constitution saving throw for me at this point. And Fiala, if you're matching her drink for drink, you'll need to do the same.
Low rolls, low rolls.
16.
16.
Yep.
So yeah, no, with a 16, you did pretty good. You're a city guardsman. You're a seasoned drinker. You go out the city guard when they used to get off and have their downtime would drink quite heavily. So you're doing all right. You're not drunk. Probably got a bit of a glow on. But I think also too that sort of underlying anger and frustration of being excommunicated from the Temple of Helm, losing your influence with the city guard, and now hearing that Valda is still champion and has not been defeated yet, has just that rage sort of is underlying, and it's really stopping the alcohol from really taking effect.
I think I give up. I'm gonna go bed.
Fiala, were you matching
I
Naemaris'
got
drinks?
I got a 15.
15? Yeah, but surprisingly with you as well. I mean, with your slight frame and your elvish constitution, you're handling it pretty well. Again, you're probably getting to that point where you're just starting to get a bit tipsy. A little bit more so than Naemaris. She's a hulking figure of a woman, so she's definitely got a bit more brawn there and a bit more beef to soak it up. So you're probably feeling the effects a little bit more than she is, but you're still okay.
Since I don't need as much sleep and I've got a lot of crap on my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to stay at the downstairs all night and take the penalties of what that comes with.
If you do not get any sleep, you will suffer 1 level of exhaustion.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
And it'll when the time comes to, if you want to get rid of that level of exhaustion, it will take you a full 24 hours of rest.
I think it's what I do. Yep.
Yep. So you're going to do that. So you're going to sit up all night.
Yep.
Are you going to continue to drink, or are you just going to sit and ponder?
Sit and ponder, I think.
Okay. So Naemaris, you then head to your room, and you doff your armor. You lay in the bed on top of the covers. You don't get into it. You sort of lie there and sort of stare at the ceiling for another hour or so before you do finally drift off to sleep. When you do get to sleep, a person or a voice comes to visit you. A familiar voice that you know you've heard before, and you will receive that message that we talked about earlier.
Right.
You will then, the rest of your night will be a really restless sleep. Again, you'll get enough rest to recover from any damage and spell slots and things like that, but it'll still be a restless sleep.
I'm going to get up early in the morning.
So,
What time of night is it?
What type of night, you say?
Time.
Time? You'd be asleep, so by this time it'd be probably 1-2 in the morning. Are you wishing to wake?
I am.
So Alishodriss, you wake up. What are you wishing to do?
So I'm assuming there's windows here.
You have. I will tell you in a moment. You indeed have a room with a window.
That is awesome. So I lock my door.
Yep.
Get my gear on. And go pay a visit to the Thieves Guild.
So you left. Have you got rope in your backpack by any chance? Because you're on the second floor.
Second floor.
So you either have to make a rope or try and scale the outside of the building.
Or do my shadow step.
Or you shadow step. You could definitely do that.
Then I'll do that.
So you open your window, sit on the windowsill, and you shadow step to the ground. No one seems to be around. The back of the guild is fairly hidden from the main street. So you then make your way back to the sewer, or back. Which way are you going to go? Through the sewer or back to the ladder on the outskirts of the city?
Ladder on the outskirts. Thank you very much.
Are you going to go stealthily, or are you just going to walk through the streets until you get to where you need to go?
I suppose I should go stealthily, shouldn't I?
It's up to you.
Well, if I don't, I'll be getting asked questions. Where am I going if the guards see me? So
Well, it's a possibility. You don't know. I mean, they don't know who you are. I mean, they could stop you. They may not. It just depends. But it's up to you. If you want to go stealth, it'll take you a bit longer to get there. But you probably won't be seen depending on your stealth roll.
Maybe I want stealth roll. So we're stealthing.
So roll away. 21. As far as you know, you're stealth. So you make your way through Rosewall Farthing, which is where the guild house is situated. You then move on, across the Lower Temple Ward, into the Market Ward, up to the Dragon's Farthing towards the main gates to head out of the main part of the city. It takes you about 2 hours with ducking into alleys and down side streets, keeping to the shadows as much as possible. You then get to the city gate. There are guards on the city gate. They don't seem to have noticed you. You make your way, again, sticking to the shadows, you make your way out to the edge of the forest, and you relatively easily find your way back to the hidden trapdoor where the ladder that led back to the Thieves Guild. You make your way down the ladder. When you get to the bottom, you find yourself in a darkened chamber, that darkened hallway. It's completely pitch black. Even with your goggles on, it's still very difficult to see more than sort of 5 or 10 feet in front of your face. What do you do?
Continue on down the continue on down the tunnel. Oh my god!
Yeah, okay. I get it. You've been drinking. I get it. You continue on down the tunnel, and you just sort of feel your way along. And just as you get to the edge of it, where you feel it sort of open out into that main chamber, several torches light around the room, and sitting on her chair-like throne is Ariane, the leader of the Thieves Guild, the lady that you had spoken to previously. And she sort of cocks her head to look at you and just says, "Please, have a seat." And she sort of waves you over to a table that's sort of off to one side, but in the centre room and in a more well-lit area.
Take your seat.
You take your seat. She goes, "So, you have decided to accept our offer?"
I want to see what the offer is.
The offer is simple. You rejoin. Essentially, you are already a member, but of course, through blood. But we need to make it official. Your family and your clan are very well known to us. They worked for us, or with us, for many, many years. And we would be grateful to have another of your clan rejoin the folds of the Fang to continue your work. I'm sure by now you must know what and who you are.
I have worked that out, yes.
So then, what is your answer?
I'd like to stay with my guild members that are currently with, but work for you on the side.
This is acceptable. Of course, you cannot tell them you are
Of course not.
a member of the Fang. In addition, for rejoining the Fang, we can also help you with your little, shall we say, problem. We have some sway with the city guard in and around the realms, and I'm quite sure that we can make this little problem go away.
What would you like me to do as our first order of business?
Well, the first order of the business is to mark you, of course, with the guild seal. This is not pleasant. It hurts very much, but it is necessary. And with that, 3 big humanoid guys appear from the shadows and just grab you. And one grabs one arm and the other grabs the other arm, so they've got you by the arms, and another one sort of hands on your shoulders and holds you into your seat. And they pull up your left sleeve. And with that, from the corner of your eye, you see another humanoid, hooded humanoid, coming at you with a red hot iron, and in the shape of a wolf's fang. Do you resist?
No.
He then proceeds to brand you with the sigil of the black fang, which is literally a black fang. Which it'll be when it heals, it'll be just a burnt black fang on your arm. I need you now to roll a Constitution saving throw. To see if you cry out. 14. Unfortunately, you were just a little shy of the DC. So when the moment that hot iron hits your flesh, even though you're in a different form, it pierces that form and it marks your true flesh, and it is hot and it is painful. You don't cry out, but it brings your eyes to tears. You wince and you kind of grunt in pain. And with that, Ariane has a really evil looking smile on her face. It's almost like she enjoys watching other people suffer. But at the same time, it's that look of approval as well. So as he releases the hot iron, the other figures then relax their grip on you and release you. And you sort of look over at your shoulder, and it's still smouldering and smoking, and that smell of burnt flesh fills your nostrils as you see the mark of the fang now permanently etched into your skin. Ariane then turns to you and says, "That is pretty much it for now. We will contact you if we need anything done. But your first and foremost order is to fulfill your clan's contract, of course. There is still a contract outstanding for the last of the dragons. Not meaning the red dragon Kossis, of course, but this white dragon that is still believed to exist. Not that she has been seen for quite some time, but I'm sure with your new friends you could possibly track her down and complete the task at hand."
So it will be done.
And she nods at you approvingly and says, "These halls are your halls. Our wares are your wares. This place is yours. Whenever you need. If you need to hide out from the law, this is where you come. You will be protected here. They will not follow. Alishodriss, welcome home." And with that, the lights dim down again, and she sort of melts into the shadows. And as you sort of peer into the shadow with your dark vision, you notice she's gone. Everybody's gone. There's no one's there. The room appears empty.
All right, head back home. Well, to my room.
So you head back to your room. How are you going to get back into your room? You're going to shadow step back to your room's window.
Yep.
Because by the time you get back, you may not be able to. Whole thing probably would have taken 3, 4. No, we're just hitting sunrise. When you get back to the guild house, it'll be too light for you to shadow step, so you may have to scale the wall to get to
That
your
should
room.
be fun.
So roll an athletics check for me.
6.
Yeah, you sort of get halfway up, and you can't find any footholds or handholds, and it's just not quite where you can get sort of to a point, and then you're just looking at it, you just can't see anything, so you're going to have to drop back down, and you're probably going to have to enter back through the guild door, and you might even have to pick your own lock to get back into your room.
Can I try again?
No, you cannot try again. You've already failed your save.
I'll go from a different angle.
I'll give you one more shot. I'll allow it. I'll give you one more shot, just because you know you can do it generally.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
What was your number?
Plus my athletics.
Yeah.
Let's see that. No, 9.
Got closer that time. Definitely got closer, but no cigar. So you're gonna have no choice now. You're gonna have to go back through the main doors of the guild and back to your room that way. I mean, obviously you'll have a key to your room, or you'll be able to unlock it, but you'll have to go back through. In which case, Fiala will probably notice you arriving.
Maybe.
She's in the room. I mean,
Can I stealth it? Can I stealth it?
You could try and stealth in there if you want. I don't know how you're going to stealth through the front door, but
Can I roll?
You roll perception versus stealth. And Fiala, you'd probably roll it at advantage because you're in a large room which doesn't really have any cover, which is also very well lit.
Is this a perception?
So perception
She
with
doesn't
advantage.
need to. She doesn't need to.
What was your stealth roll?
I rolled a 3 plus 8, so you
So
tell
11.
me.
So that's right. She could get lower than 11. So 11 for your stealth roll. And what was your perception? So this would be an active
16.
perception. Yeah, no. Fiala notices you definitely as you come in the door. I mean, you try and so quietly open that door, and as you push it forward, as the hinge just squeaks so loudly. And Fiala sort of looks up and notices you. Fiala, do you say anything? This is the question.
I hold up my hand like I'm about to shoot a flaming bolt and say, Allie, what the hell are you doing?
I got bored and decided to go for a walk.
I'm gonna check to see if he's lying.
Roll insight.
1.
As far as you know, he's telling that it seems legit.
Oh, that whiskey.
So yeah, so it seems legit. Alishodriss, you then head to your room.
Yep.
And you essentially go back to bed. Because I would say you probably 2-3 hours sleep before you got up. Do you go back? Do you go back to bed?
Yeah.
So to get your full rest and not get exhaustion, you'd have to sleep for another 6 hours.
I'm getting up at this point.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So you're gonna go for the full 6 hours sleep?
Yep.
So by this
How'd you
time
go?
we're looking around dawn, so it'll be about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Naemaris, you said you'd be rising about this time.
I'm getting up and I'm going to Ali's room
Why are you going to Ali's room?
because I feel like it.
Okay.
And I'm banging on the door, going, "Wakey, wakey, rise and shine!" Throw the door open and go and drag her. Come have some breakfast, look.
Locked. I mean, come on.
I'm
Well,
throwing
she
open.
probably wouldn't even be asleep. The door would be locked. So if you wanted to bust the door down, you would have to make a strength check.
Do it.
Nat 20.
Do you want to break the door down? Are you going to be that person?
I'm going to be that person.
Okay, so you got a natural 20 on the strength check.
So 23.
Oh,
all
God.
So what's your strength at 23?
Mhm.
Okay. So, yeah, Alishodriss, you've just sort of hit the pillow and you're just drifting off, and all of a sudden your door flies open, splintering
What
wood
the fuck?
across the room. And
Do the rest of us in the rooms hear this?
everyone would hear it. It's loud. Even Fiala would hear it downstairs. Like the wood, that creaking wood sound, and then the shattering of splintering wood, and then the door slamming against the wall as it swings open. Alishodriss, you sit bolt upright. Just
Naemaris, what the fuck?
as Naemaris comes into your room.
Come have some breakfast with me.
I'm too tired. I want to go sleep.
No, you'll be right after a coffee kebab.
No sleep.
Oof.
Naemaris, roll a persuasion check for me to see if you can
Hit
persuade.
against the darkness armor, trying to figure out what's going on.
Okie dokie.
19.
Yep, no worries. Hit 19 for persuasion. Alishodriss, it sounds pretty good. The coffee actually sounds really good.
All right. Just let me get
You don't
my
have
things
to.
up.
I mean, she seems extremely persuasive. Like she seems like she needs to talk, or maybe just wants the
I'm
company.
keeping up appearances.
Okay.
All right. I'll be down there soon.
So Alishodriss, you will also suffer 1 level of exhaustion.
Karma.
The exhaustion means you have disadvantage on, if I remember rightly, ability checks and saving throws, or just ability checks. Can't remember. Give me 1 second, I'll check.
I think it's just ability
I
checks.
think it's just ability checks.
Yep.
Yeah, so level 1 is disadvantage on ability checks. Yep. So both Fiala and Alishodriss are both suffering 1 level of exhaustion. Hit, you were putting your armor on and trying to figure out what all the commotion was.
Correct.
You come out of your room, and as you come out, you see Naemaris and a very sleepy-looking Alishodriss sort of come out of her room and start heading downstairs.
She's paying for the door, not me.
Oh, I'm sorry if I was interrupting. I just heard the noise. You two carry on doing what you were doing.
I look at Hit and I'm like, breakfast?
Yes, I think I could eat, actually, but aren't you two gonna hit the showers first?
No.
Break my bloody door.
I'm
Yes, I see, and he sort of carries on walking past them. Back to-
Gives them that look as he walks past.
Whatever.
Walk of shame.
Sadiq, this would have woken you up as well. The extremely loud, explosive-like splintering of wood.
Do I hear like Naemaris and Ellie's screaming at each other, type their banter?
I would say so. I'd say everyone except Fiala probably would have heard what the conversation was about. Fiala being downstairs, but you guys, the walls are not exactly thick in this place, so you definitely would have heard the conversation.
Just gonna go, yeah, as per usual, those two are at.
So do we all reassemble downstairs for morning breakfast?
Correct.
And
Grudgingly, yes.
Jeremy is wandering around the place again. He's up pretty early. The old guy shuffling around, organises breakfast for you guys, coffee all round, looks at Alishodriss and makes hers extra strong. And you guys sit down and you have a good hearty meal to start the day. You have coffee, and it is now a new day. The championship fight is not until the next morning. The day is pretty much yours to do what you will.
Hit waits till everyone is seated around the table, and he says, breakfast and morning drinks is on me this morning. Team, some of you weren't around, I suppose, but I do apologise for my outbursts of the recent days. So yeah,
Guild breakfast is free.
it's on me anyway. It is a bit of a guild breakfast, yes.
But the sentiment goes down with everyone pretty well. Like, even though everyone in the room knows that all this is free because it's the guild. I don't get the feeling that anyone would correct Het at this point, because it's a really heartfelt kind of thing that he's doing.
Het forgot it was not it was just a regular bar.
Naemaris looks at Het and then thinks, "Oh," and I turn around and I like try and catch Jeremy's eyes.
And he's sort of, as he's walking, he sort of glances over you and sort of, he catches your eye.
I give him come just over here a second, but just, the nod of the come over here.
And he's looking at you confused as you're sort of making all these head movements and that.
I get up and go over to him.
And he goes, are you okay?
I may or may not have broken. And I slip him a couple of...
You may or may not have broken what?
A door.
A door? What, how, what do you mean you broke a door?
I broke a door. That's
How
it.
did you break the door?
And I look at him.
And he gives you that raised eyebrow, sort of looks like, huh?
I just look at him and I grab him by the two arms and lift him up off the ground.
What? What are you doing?
That's how I broke the door.
Okay. Fine.
I put him down.
Oh, and he rubs his shoulders. So, I'll fix it then.
How much gold do you want?
It's fine. Give me something to do. And he shuffles off, rubbing his arms, and it's like you can hear him sort of grumble and moan under his breath. Fucking brutish bitch.
Did I hear this?
Roll a perception check.
Ooh.
Bar fight.
15.
No, you didn't hear it. It was too far away.
Did you hear it?
You just heard it just under his breath. You could hear him saying something. You couldn't make the words out. You missed by DC, or you missed by 1. So, back to breakfast. Breakfast is eaten and cleared away. What is everyone's plans for the day?
No, I'm going to repeat the message that I got last night from Cass to everyone.
The entire
And
message?
say, saying that the Cass is waiting for us still, and he's got the family of...
Okay.
Yeah, whatever his name
So
is.
not the first part of the message then.
No, always leaving out that part.
So what Sadiq says to you is, I wait for you and your friends to join me here in Alishodriss. The thief's family is quite safe and will remain so if you make your way here sooner rather than later.
So I thought the Black Fang was protecting the family. Do we not owe them anything now?
They were not protecting the family. They said that they would do their best to find out where they were and attempt to bring them back if they were able. That's pretty much her exact words. So they didn't promise that they would definitely do it. They just said they would do their best to make sure that the family came home. It's only been overnight, so they may not even know that she is indeed in Alishodriss. Well, they are the mother and daughter. You could probably go see the guild again if you wanted to find out whether they do know and inform them if you wanted to employ their assistance in this. Completely up to you.
Sadiq, do we have any guarantee that they're not gonna kill us if we go there? I mean, they're pretty powerful.
Are you talking about Cass?
Yeah.
Well, he said he wanted a parlay, but he is a vampire, so don't know if his word can be really trusted.
Oh,
Have you
and on that
parlayed
note,
with
Sadiq,
vampires before?
where you go hit.
Sorry, just, Sadiq, have you parlayed with a vampire before?
No, I normally just kill them. But he is a lot older than any of the others that I've ever seen, so we
So we
could be in
walk
some
into
trouble.
a trap. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just on that note of that message, Sadiq, you did have a chance to respond to that. Did you send a response or not?
Yeah, I sent a response that, yes, I know, I'm on my way.
Duly noted. Right. So, discussion go as goes. You now have a decision to make. How quickly are you going to go to Alishodriss to potentially face Cass in a potential parlay or potential trap, ambush, all of the above? You're not 100% sure. I know you all know that Naemaris definitely wants to smash Valda's face in, which will be a day from now. Hit, you also now know you have something to possibly retrieve the following morning also.
Yes, Hit relays to the team. I am in as much hurry as you people are to take this person out, but one, I feel like we're rushing into something we know nothing about. Maybe Sadiq, you know more than we do, but generally, I'm looking around the room here, and no offense to anyone, but I feel we all are a bit shattered, a little tired. The faces among us look, I don't know about you, Ali, but you look god awful. The auntie,
Naemaris.
Fiala, can't help but
I
feel
just sneer at him.
I can't help but feel that, Fiala, you're looking a little tired as well, and I myself am definitely not feeling 100%. Another day of rest would be good if we can allow it, if not two. How do you feel?
I also feel we should probably gear up for this.
That's probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, team, what is the plan for the day? Sounds like the decision's been made to at least rest for another day or two.
Oh, thank God.
Gain some supplies, maybe some information. So with that, by now, with this discussion, you're probably heading into 9 o'clock in the morning. You guys are up fairly early. So we're now, it's a mildly cloudy day. It's not like real clear or very, very hot on this day. So it's a little bit overcast, a little bit cooler than the day before, but not raining.
I'd like to go over and see Thorfinn.
You want to go see Thorfinn? Not a problem. You can do that.
Hitch announces that he would like to hit at least one store in town to sell off a few things and maybe gain some items. And also he would like to look for a temple of the Steel Lady nearby if such a thing exists.
You would probably know that there is probably not a temple to Steel Lady in Valon, but on the outskirts, just outside of the city walls, there has been one erected specifically for her through other acolytes of the Steel Lady.
Yes, so if everybody is happy with that, I do have to make a trip to a general goods store or something. And yes, I'm going to head out somewhere, maybe this afternoon, to the Temple of the Steel Lady to maybe pay some respects and just have a little bit of thinking time. If that would be appreciated. I can do that on my own, or if anyone wishes to join me, that would be fine.
No, I'll just fix up my supplies, then I'm going back to my room to sleep. Naemaris.
Oh, I thought you might like to come with me to see Thorfey. And I give him that strange.
I've had enough of your father for now.
What does that mean?
He can explain it to you when you get there. I'm sure.
Right. Alright, sleep well.
So, Alishodriss, you were going to return to your room.
Get supplies done first.
Supplies done first. So, who's going where to collect what? We'll start with Het. Which you were looking for just a general goods store or something?
Yeah, I just
specific?
want to sell a couple of items, really.
So you could probably sell those. You got a few options. You got Aerith's Anvil, which is a place you now know. There's the Crossed Arrows, which is another kind of general goods store. Aerith's Anvil is a blacksmith and jewel crafter. Crossed Arrows is a basic general goods store, like general implements, tools, basic potions and things like that. The Arcanus is for obviously more magical items, more higher end magical stuff. And of course you've had dealings with Adrian's Armaments, which is where you had your strings made, which I don't know whether you've picked up or not.
No, I shall go there and pick them up first.
So you've got your strings there to pick up, the steel strings that were made. So you've got a few options available to you guys.
Het will definitely go and pick up the strings, and then so the first store you mentioned, just to sell off a few items.
Okay, so to Adrian's Armaments to pick up your strings, and then to Aerith's Anvil, jewel crafter and blacksmith. Or the Crossed Arrow, sorry, for you, for general goods.
Crossed Arrow, yes.
So is anyone accompanying Het on his travels, or are we going to be going separately here?
I'll head out with Het because I'd want to get some health pots.
Okay.
And some more holy water if I...
Yes, you would have to visit a temple for that. So you'd probably go to the Dryad's Tree, which is a local temple which has clerical, all the clerical goods that would have holy water, holy oil, all that sort of stuff. Which is in Ravens Falls Farthing. Which, if we go back to our map here. So you have Ravensfall Farthing, which is down the southeastern or southwestern side of the city, out towards the lower dock ward. Queen's Wall Farthing is where you'll be hitting Het for your for the Crossed Arrows, and I believe that Adrian's Armaments was in King's Arch Village, which is the north.
Okay, we'll go from closest to furthest, if that's cool.
Yep. So Ravens Falls will be first, which will be pretty much where you'll head for the temple for the holy water and holy oil.
Het will accompany Sadiq there, but not actually enter.
Okay. Anyone else going with Sadiq and Het?
I'm just going to get some arrows.
You can go to Adrian's Armaments with Sadiq and Het to get those.
Yep.
Okay, so you accompany them as well?
No.
Nope. So you're just going to go straight to the Arcanus.
Yeah,
Fiala, what are you doing?
I'm trying to think who would have information on the names of the other council members and where they might be.
All the libraries are at the Arcanus, so you'd have to go back there to sit down at one of the libraries and maybe do a bit of research there.
So I guess I will go with Naemaris.
Okay. So those of you with your level of exhaustion as well, just bear in mind that you to get a full 24 hours rest, you would have to do nothing but basically light duties. So research and things like that, which requires a lot of concentration, would not constitute resting.
I might fall
So-
asleep in the books.
Well, we can make a roll for that. So essentially, what you'd have to do is essentially literally hang out at the guild and do not a lot for a full 24 hours and get a full decent nice night's rest
You know what?
to
I'll probably
reduce
just do
that.
that. Yeah.
As soon as I get my arrows, that's where I'm heading.
Okay, so Fiona, you're going to stay at the guild house and start your
Yeah.
rest. Okay, so you'll stay there. Awesome, we'll leave you there. You sort of head back up to your room and maybe do a bit of reading, bit of light reading with information you already have. Again, still pondering on the events of the day before and the conversation with Thorfey and with Het and all the bits and pieces that have sort of happened. And you'll eventually come to fall asleep just out of sheer exhaustion. We'll go with Naemaris first. Peckers, be right back. So Naemaris, you head towards the Arcanus. Without barely looking up, you're not really with it. You're kind of yourself. You barely look up from your feet, but you know where to go. You get to the Arcanus. You walk through the front doors. The other elves that are sort of floating around don't really say much to you. They know who you are just obviously by sight, and you, without looking up, head directly to Thorfey's chamber. You know exactly where it is, and you do indeed find him in his chambers at his desk, and he's sort of just going through some papers on his desk.
I'm like, hi, Dad.
Oh, Naemaris. It's been a little while. I hope everything is okay. Obviously, besides what I've heard what had happened, I am a little disappointed, I must say. But in some respects, I can understand why you did what you did. I hope you aren't taking this all to heart too much.
No, I'm going to go and fight Valda tomorrow.
Valda,
Mm-hmm.
she's undefeated for 6 months now.
Let's see if we can just stop that streak, eh?
Well, if anyone can defeat Valda, I'm sure it is you. You've always excelled in the physical, shall we say. I do wish you all the best, of course. I'll even be betting on you. Not really a gambling man, but I'd be foolhardy not to place a small wager. Is there anything else that...
Is there anything we need to know about Cass to defeat him? That might be helpful.
Cass Agnond. He is an elder vampire. There's not many ways to defeat an elder vampire, of course. I mean, sunlight that hurts them, holy water, holy oil, radiant damage, and all the good stuff will definitely do some damage, of course. I mean, most people know that. But I'm not sure that he's actually able to be killed in the sense that you're speaking of. So you and your friends are going to face him then?
Well, we've been invited. I tell him what.
About the invitation? We'll be very wary, Naemaris. Such invitations can normally only mean one thing. You are being invited to his territory to parley as such. That city, Alishodriss, I would imagine, would be filled with his acolytes, his allies. You would be at a great disadvantage.
So just be careful as we go in then.
Well, is there any other way? You don't want to rush in headlong and foolhardy. You do not want to enter into a head-on combat with this being. Be vigilant and be mindful of your adversary as always.
Alright. Thank you.
You're welcome, and it's good to see you. You look different somehow. I cannot put my finger on it, but just be careful. And he sort of stands up and walks around. He's looking a little bit older than you remember as well. He's definitely something's weighing heavy on his mind, and it's taking a toll on him physically. And he's definitely not young. I mean, he's an old elf. And he gives you a tight hug and sort of helps, sort of sends you on your way, kind of thing.
Oh, Dad.
Yes.
I found this set of bone dice in my stuff. What am I supposed to do with
Bone dice? Well, you can play games with bone dice, I guess. It's just you had them with you when you were found as a child, so they could be something of a family heirloom, I would imagine.
Oh, okay.
But
Just
normally
something I
dice are used for gambling and playing games. But yeah, I'm not sure what else that they could possibly mean.
Oh, all right. Oh, well, take care, and I'll see you when we get back. I'll see you tomorrow morning. At
Well,
the,
I'll be
arena.
at the arena for sure. I mean, I'll be there to cheer you on, no doubt. And again, all the best. And he returns back to his study and back to his papers.
So I'll go back and relay the information you gave me about Cass.
You're gonna try and catch up with the rest of the group.
Mhm.
Because it'd take you from where you are, would take you about an hour to get to the guild and then back again. So
wait until we get to dinner time.
yeah. So you're back for a bit. Okay, you guys, that's cool. What we'll probably do, since Pekka and Yanti has had Pekka's parents show up for a bit, so we'll deal with Het first, and then we'll come back to those guys. So, I mean, Yanti's asleep, so that's all good. Pekka, you will definitely get what you want to get. We can work out, if you're not back in time, we can work out details, coin and that later. But Het, you head towards Edrin's armaments, which I believe you had some an order that's been sitting for a little while now, all prepaid.
That is correct.
You rock up to, you remember where it is. It took you a little while to get there. You haven't been back to Valon for a little while, so it takes you a little bit to find the place, but you make it there okay. And you walk on into the armaments, and again, it's a blacksmith out the back, and the front is a storefront with weapons and all sorts of bits and pins, a few tinkering items, strange contraptions you're not really sure of. And Edrin is actually at the counter. He's not in the forge this time. He's at the counter, sort of going over a few notes at the counter, and he sort of looks up and, "Hey, I remember you. You're back. I thought I'd never see you again. Strings, right, for your loot. I got them.
Yes, and not just
here,
the strings.
They were here somewhere, and flasks, I believe.
Yes, the flasks.
1 second, I'll be right back." And he goes out through a set of curtains out the back, and you hear him sort of tinkering around, and you hear metal clanging, and just like he's dropped something, and he's, "Ah, shite, I'll pick it up later." And he comes back in this little box. And in the little box, there's 2 or 3 little parchment pouches. And he sort of pulls one of them out, and he opens it up. And inside is 4 silver wound steel strings. And he says, "I made 3 of these for you. My finest work, I swear." And he hands the first one over to you, and he says, "You prepaid for 2, but I made 3, so the third one is free of charge."
"I will not have anything of it." And he gives him another 10 gold.
Are you sure? I thoroughly enjoyed making these. It was a lot of fun, and if you ever need any more, come right back. And he sort of takes the 10 gold and pops it into his waistcoat pocket.
It's good. I always keep the locals uppaid, you know.
I appreciate it very much. And then he sort of turns the box around and lifts up a piece of leather that he's got sitting over it. And how many flasks did you Was it
It
5?
was five flasks with the black lion logo.
That's right. So in laying, sort of all laying almost like a set of dominoes lying against each other. Again, he picks up the top one and hands it over to you, sort of turns it around so you can see the Black Lion logo, which has been engraved on the front. Again, all solid silver, with a cork top, and very well crafted, and the logo looks really nice against the silvery. So it looks like he's inlaid a little bit of darker silver to give you a bit of contrast in the Lion logo. Very well made flasks indeed. He goes,
Sorry,
there you go.
Group name again?
What was that, sorry?
Just out of game time for a second. Just what did we say earlier on that the group's called again?
The Lions of Valda.
Sweet. Just write that down so I don't forget.
No worries. And yeah, so he hands it over to you and says, there you go. Again, fine work. Very proud. They turned out a lot better than I thought. But the order is done.
I do appreciate all the time and effort. These flasks look wonderful. I honestly, I couldn't ask for anything more. I tell you what, here's another team goal because there will be repeat efforts if I break strings. But I'm very happy with your work.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I will make sure if any of my team need anything, they come and see you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that too. As I say, come back anytime at all.
Thank you, good sir.
And heads out to the next area.
So
I'm getting arrows from there.
You can get arrows. He does have. You see that these quivers of arrows on the wall. And what can I do for you, sir?
Like 3 arrows, please.
3? Just 3 arrows? Wouldn't you prefer 23?
It means I'd have to have 2 quivers.
Oh no! You can if you buy this quiver here, you can fit 40 arrows on that one. It's my own design. That weighs not an ounce more than your original quiver, but holds 40 arrows.
Done.
That will be 25 gold, including the arrows. Just because you're here with your friend, and it's a great deal. So yeah, 25 gold, and you get a brand new quiver, and it's really finely made, real nice leather. It's wrapped, and almost like a plaited leather strapping, and it's really well designed, and yeah, and you see it's slightly bigger than than a regular quiver, and it holds 40 arrows.
Actually, Adrian, I'd like to sell some gear if you've got a few more moments.
Of course, we buy and sell and trade. What would you like to sell?
Well, I have this.
Hit hands over the busted crossbow that he busted and the busted quarterstaff that he busted the night before.
Well, it looks like he's seen a bit of action. Well, I can't do much with the busted staff. I mean, it's after all, it's like a branch that you trim off and sort of, it's kind of a throwaway item. The crossbow, I could give you 3 or 4 gold for it. I'd have to repair it. Let's say 4 gold.
That's fine.
We'll give you 4 gold. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I've got a blanket I never use because I'm rather cold. So, how much for a blanket?
A blanket, so that'd be like almost like a bedroll blanket.
Yeah, it keeps his bedroll, but just wants to get rid of the extra blanket.
Just a blanket on top. Well, yeah, let's give you a gold for that too. I'll probably throw it on my own bed. Looks pretty good.
And I also have no use for this crossbow bolts case, nor these 18 crossbow bolts.
Let's say another 4 gold for that lot as well, eh?
Excellent.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn here. I have this potion.
And he pulls out the potion of resurrection that he got like early on in like the first or second episode of the game. It's been in his backpack the whole time.
Yes.
He shakes it and swirls it up and he says,
how much are these worth? Can you tell me?
I don't really deal in potions. That would you'd probably better off going to the Crossed Arrows for that. He deals with all sorts of potions and salves and things like that. I deal mainly in arms and shields, armor, swords.
Thanks for your honesty, Adrian. I'll head over there and see what he says.
It looks very interesting, though. I mean, it's a weird looking colour, but yeah, Crossed Arrow. He'd certainly help you out. Tell him Adrian sent you. He'd give you a good deal.
Excellent, thanks, Adrian. And heads over to the
no problem.
I bid my farewells to Hit and head back to the guild house.
And with that, Alishodriss indeed heads back to the guild house for some much needed sleep.
Hit just nods at Alishodriss as she walks away.
So with that, Hit, you head towards the Queen's Farthing, which is where you'll find the when I get to my notes, you will find the Crossed Arrows the Crossed Arrows general store and Aerith's Anvil, both pretty much in the same block. Which do you go to first?
The Crossed first, and then the Anvil second.
Okay, so you go to the Crossed Arrows, and it's a simple building, much like most general stores. It's got a nice sort of shop front. Hasn't got any windows in this one. It's kind of dark and dingy. But as you walk in, you can see on one side in the rafters there's all sorts of herbs hanging up in the rafters. It's kind of smelly. Got a real cinnamony, gingery type smell to the air. On that same side, there's a whole row of shelves with some dusty old books and all sorts of interesting looking potions and bottles in the top shelf, and just general stuff. There's tools, there's parchment paper, it looks like a whole jar full of quills on the main counter, and just a whole bunch of just general stuff, as a general goods store would be. Behind the counter, you see a dwarven woman. She is very stout, very short, as a dwarf normally are. You see her sort of walking backwards and forwards, and she gets to the counter. You see her go up a few steps, so it puts her at the same level as you, as she's behind the counter, and she sort of props herself up and looks at you as you're heading towards the counter. She's got long, sort of dark brownish kind of auburn hair, pulled back into braids on both sides back, and then tied in the center down the back. She's got a very nice dwarven beard, as most dwarven women do. Again, braided, and hangs very low down past her waist. Wearing general shop attire, apron and things like that. And as she sort of props herself on, looks like it might be a little stool behind there, she sort of puts her hands on her hips and says, "Well, greetings. What can I do for you?"
"Hello, kind sir. I just wanted to...
Kind sir? I'm a madam, thank you very much. I'm a dwarven woman."
Excuse my...
God damn it.
Yes, excuse my ignorance. I've got bad eyesight. I apologize.
It's alright, it happens all the time. And she's got real rosy cheeks too. She's quite a rosy cheeked lady, big bulbous cheeks, and quite a red nose too, but a great big bushy beard.
I just wanted to know, I've got these couple of potions, one in particular. I just want to know the worth of them. I'm not looking to sell them right now.
And Hit pulls out the resurrection potion and a sleep potion from his backpack and just
Well,
wants a price on them.
let me have a look at my paperwork here. This one, that's a good one. That the potion of resurrection. Let me see. And she sort of reaches under there, grabs out a rather large book, leather-bound book, with one of those real hinged locks on the front. She opens it up and starts thumbing through some pages. And as I find my notes, because I did list it here. Potion shop, there we go. So she sort of looks it over. She picks it up, the potion reacher, and looks it over, and she goes, "Ooh, Oh, that one's worth. That's a very rare potion. That one. Hey, you're very lucky to come by that one. That's worth about 800 or 900 gold to the right people. Maybe 1,000 if you're a good negotiator.
My goodness, that is a lot of coin.
Oh, they're very rare. You don't find them often at all. And what was the second one? A potion of sleep.
Potion of sleep, yeah.
So she picks up the potion of sleep and she's, oh, I've seen this one. I make this one as well. We sell it for about 250 gold pieces. Again, not common, but not uncommon either. But very handy if you want to play a trick or a prank on someone when they're just about to have a meal or anything like that. You slip it into their drink and watch them fall over on their face. It's quite funny.
So is it quite tasteless if you put it into food
Oh
or
yeah,
drink?
no taste at all.
So I could put it into alcohol and it would be disguised?
Oh, best way to put it in the alcohol. You might call it we could think of a name for it, but we're coming up with all sorts of names, ruffies and rupees. We're not quite sure, but it would make a great... if you could come up with a name, maybe chloroform or something like that.
Yeah. I had a friend called Ruth, and she used to make potions like this. She called them Ruthie's potions.
Ruthie, you say? Well, I might think on it. That might be a good name. But they're great. They're great for playing jokes on your friends.
I wonder if it's a good idea to catch her. Maybe I'm thinking of using it for capturing like wanted felons.
Well, that works too. I mean, if you know who they are and you can slip it into their drink when they're not looking. Of course, it makes them sleep for quite some time. Of course, unless the constitution is strong enough that they can ward off the charm or the poison. But it definitely could work.
May I please buy another then?
You sure can. And she sort of reaches down to the counter, pulls out a box of jiggling bottles, and she sort of goes through and she goes, here we go. And she pulls out another one, exactly the same as what you have. And she says, I like you. Let's say 200.
Now, funniest thing, I like you too. 200 it is.
Great. And she gives you a great big smile and gives you a bit of a wink as she puts the gold in her bra purse inside her shirt. She's got quite big boobs too. Low cut top on.
It takes note. There's all wandering eyes and all.
She notices the wandering eyes and cares not a jot. In fact, she leans forward a little bit to give you a better view.
It thanks you, and I shall take my leave. Have a good day, madam.
You have a great day too, Mr. Lizard Man. I'm not. Excuse my ignorance. I've not seen your kind before. What
yes,
are you?
They call me the Great Lizard. Yes.
The Great Lizard. Okay.
Yes. The Great
my
Lizard.
My name. I don't know my name. Oh my crap. Holy Jesus. I got stuck in the high pitch there. I gotta come back to my notes. Oh shit. City towns info. Ruthie? No, it's not Ruthie. The crossed arrows. My name is Donny. Donny Scufflo. Donny.
That's a lovely
Donny
name.
as in the dawn of the day.
That's what I said, Donny. Not like Tony Danza, but dawn of the day, Donny.
Yeah, not Tony. Yeah. But I'm pleased, and your name is Fine Lizard Sir.
My name is Hit. Just Hit.
Just Hit. Well, Just Hit is pleased to meet you, and I hope to see you again.
It's possible you will. But, I must take thee leave. Have a great day, fine lady.
And to you too, fine sir. And you leave the crossed arrows.
He sure does. He's not really sure how to take that. He shakes his head and so like, okay. The woman lady with a beard, that's so weird.
Just curiosity. I'm in trouble now, aren't I?
You never know.
Yes.
What? Because there's a dwarven lady with a beard?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, do you not? Are you racist? Don't you like dwarves?
Because there's a Ruthie in a glass soon.
A roofie coming to a glass near you.
Yeah, something like that.
Stay tuned, chat.
Right. Was there anything else that Het would like to do before heading back to the guild?
Just the temple, but
Right.
obviously Sadiq and Fiala have things to do too.
Sadiq does. Is Sadiq back yet? Or
We
no?
keep, entertaining people in the town.
Okay. So we will say that Sadiq did indeed go to the temple, and he collected what he did need in the way of holy items, holy oil, holy water. We'll deal with price a bit later.
Het was also going to ask Sadiq to get him 5 holy waters too. What would that have cost Het? He would have given the money to Sadiq.
5 holy waters. I'll just close that bloody PDF. Damn it. I should just keep it open. We will say a flask of holy water will run you about 15 gold a piece.
Sweet. Het will pay for his.
No problem. We will do that. So, with that, you all head back to the guild house, where pretty much you've got the day. I mean, it's probably just after lunch at this point. You've probably stopped at some stage to have something to eat. And there's not really much else you can do. If you wanted to go to the barracks and check up on Riffic, you could. During the time you are in town, however, you do hear the town crier. In fact, everyone, as you're milling through town, even Alishodriss, Fiala's probably the only one that probably didn't hear this, but everyone else would have heard it during the course of their travels through the day. The town crier, the young lad that he is out in the town, one of the main market squares, and is got his scroll there, and he's up there like this with a scroll. Hear ye, hear ye! Valda Grimm set to defend her championship tomorrow against the mighty Naemaris. Thief caught and set to stand trial in 1 week's time. And then the final and the last call. Hear ye, hear ye! Changeling murderer still at large. And that's pretty much the cries of the day. Does anyone stop and talk to the lad while they're in their travels after hearing the cries of information?
Carry on.
Het would stop and ask.
You would stop and ask. You can have a chat to the lad. And he's sort of, as he's up there, standing with a scroll, and he's sort of looking around and calling out his thing, and he sort of rolls it up. He sits down to take a 5-minute break before he gets up and basically does it again.
What does the child look like?
The child? What child? The child. Oh shit, that child.
Question, sorry.
I'm thinking, what child? Oh, the crier, the town crier. He's a bit scruffy. Like he's probably about 13 or 14 years old. Yeah, dirt moment from the DM guys. Excuse me. He's about 13 or 14, short, sandy brown hair. Dressed in okay clothes. Nothing. He's not like a street urchin, but he's not well off either. So he's a little, almost think of Tom Sawyer type from the Tom Sawyer movies. That kind of age and kind of look.
Hello, man-child. What is this news you speak of?
And he sort of he looks at you and sort of, oh. Excuse me, sir, you gave me a fright. We don't see many dragonborn in Verland. Oh, which particular part would you like to know?
Well, both headings. What was that first one again? I just caught the first part.
The first one is Valda Grimm sets to defend her championship against the great Naemaris. Both former city guardsmen, and they're going to beat each other up.
My God, when is that happening?
Tomorrow morning, I believe, about 10 a.m. It's going to be a great fight.
Excellent. That's good to know. Now, the other one, what was that?
The thief that stole the scrolls from the Arcanus has been caught and turned in, and he's set to stand trial in 1 week's time. Everyone's saying he's going to hang. It's going to be a public hanging. It's going to be gross.
That sure is gross. Especially if that man doesn't deserve hanging. And lastly, about the changeling, give me that one again.
Oh, the changeling murder. There's been a wanted poster circling out that a changeling murdered some young girl and is still at large, but she's believed to be in the city. I hope they catch her. She's nasty and mean.
Okay. Alrighty then, carry on about your business.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes, you do. Here, have a gold.
Oh, thank you very much. And you see him grab it and he bites down on it to make sure it's real and puts it into his pocket and he just sits there sort of scribbling on a piece of parchment while he's waiting for his next cry, I guess.
Okay, head then, just looking for the Temple of the Steel Lady on the outskirts.
That'll take you a couple of hours to get to. By the time you sort of get to the main gates and then find the temple, the temple on the outskirts of town, it's probably about a good 20-30 minutes right on the outskirts. Not a well-known deity in this area of Paradym, but it's relatively new. It's only been recently erected, probably in the last 4 or 5 months, and probably just before you came to join the guild is probably when it was first put up. And probably acolytes of the Steel Lady came to this part, realised there was no temple, and decided to put one up. But were denied access or ability to put one up in the city. There may not have been room, but they've been able to put one up out here.
Head enters. He takes his loot off at the door in his backpack and he sits them, I assume there's hooks or something to hang them on, or sits them on a
There's
perch.
kind of a foyer area there where you could, like a bench, couple of benches and stuff. You could probably prop them up on a bench and leave them there without too many hassles.
So just within view, and then he sort of steps forward into one of the not up close, but into one of the rear seats, and he just sort of basically talks to his deity in his head.
So you just sit there in quiet contemplation, communing with the Steel Lady, and it's quite a nice temple too. It's, like I say, it's relatively new. You've got all the sigils of the Steel Lady. There's the symbol of the Steel Lady and been suspended above the altar at the very front of the temple, and what looks like to probably be gold or bronze. It's got a few. There's no gemstones or anything in it. Even for gold, it's still very plain looking, but very poignant. It's hanging right there in plain view. It's quite large. The stained glass windows also depicting different scenes of from Steel Lady's stories that you've heard and things like that. Her defeat over the men in her life, and just all these different things that relate to the Steel Lady and everything she stands for.
Is there anyone in the church itself?
The temple is currently empty apart from yourself.
So he utters sort of out loud under his breath, but not too loud. He says, Maggie, show me some damn sign. I need something to go on. Where do I go from here? Am I doing the right thing? I have no idea. I feel like a baby crawling from the egg for the first damn time. I don't know. I need something.
And he grips the front of the chair and then gets up and leaves.
Yeah, and even in the temple, as much as the presence of the Steel Lady is kind of felt there with the temple being the way it is and everything that's in the temple, you don't feel like you normally do when you speak to her. You just don't get the impression that she's maybe not listening, or not that she's not there, but you just don't get that same feeling that you usually do. And if anything, that overlying frustration and anger keeps sort of shadowing what you're trying to think. You're trying to focus on all these things. You're trying to focus on this whole Cass Agdon thing and plan for that, and knowing that he's undead, and your clerical side of it. You're trying to focus on what you could do there, and you just keep coming back to Adrian and Yannick. Those names keep playing. Just seeing Adrian's body when you went back to home, hearing from your father that Yannick had been killed and that no body had been recovered, knowing that he may never rest, keeps playing over and over and over in your mind, and that anger just seems to cloud over everything else.
Sweet, it is done for now, thank you.
No problem. So Het, you spend your time at the temple. You then, after probably, I would say maybe an hour or two of in the temple, and then maybe in and around outside the temple, and then wandering back, it'll probably take you a good couple of hours to walk back to the guild from that side of the city. By that stage, everyone has probably met back at the guild by now. We're looking mid to late afternoon. So, be getting close to dinner time. I mean, Fiala and Alishodriss, you've both been back at the guild just resting. Probably sleeping, I would imagine, for both of you. Fiala, you've probably woken up by about this stage and just sort of maybe reading or sitting in your room or whatever you're doing. You're still just taking it easy. You know that you've got to take it easy for at least another sort of 16 hours or so. 15, 16 hours to remove that exhaustion you feel. Alishodriss, you're about the same. I'd say you'd probably, about this time, getting ready to probably stir and get up. So, everyone back at the guild house, what are we doing? Actually, we'll take this opportunity to take a break, because it's stupid hot here and I need a drink. And with Mr. Picker being entertaining guests at the moment, it'd be a good opportunity to take a small break, maybe 5-10 minutes, and we'll come back shortly, and we'll pick up with the group back at the guild house and potentially move on and have a wee arena battle. So, give us 5-10 minutes, guys. We'll be right back.
Not bloody strong enough for that.
Oh, but I can do other things.
She can indeed. Be
Try
right
it.
back, chat. Welcome back. We're back.
Welcome back.
I was waiting on Naemaris to take a seat. And we'll be back into things. So, Sadiq has returned from the temple with his bits and bobs, and he's purchased his couple of vials of holy water and a couple of potions of healing. I said it's now sort of mid to late afternoon. Those that were resting, you're probably at about the 8-hour mark of rest. So just keep an eye on that. You need to do at least another 16 hours to get remove your exhaustion. Sadiq, yes.
I'm also gonna get. You know how I told you about the sword would do that color thing?
Yes.
I'm gonna get my symbol blessed by the clerics to do that color.
Okay, so yep, that'll probably take you about an hour or so. Won't cost you anything because it's just a blessing. But we'd say that took you like an extra hour, so you won't have gotten back to the guild house the same time as everybody else. You'd be like an hour after. And yeah, so now in the presence of undead and or fiends, your amulet or your pendant, whatever, which symbol was it?
It's an amulet of.
Is it the Tempest one? Okay.
Yeah.
So your amulet of Tempest will now glow with the radiant yellow glow for undead, I believe we said. And if in the presence, I have it written down here. There we go. So in the presence of fiendish or evil entities, it will glow a radiant yellow. In the presence of undead, it will grow in a very subtle arcane blue. And in the presence of both evil, fiendish, or undead, it will glow with a vibrant green aura. So that'll let you know. And that will be out to a maximum distance of 30 feet. Outside of that 30 feet, it will not emit those colours. So they'd have to be reasonably close to you before you'd get that indication.
Yeah, just have to remind you that what colour is it glowing?
Exactly. And I'll probably remember when it comes to that sort of thing. I'll lock it into a bit of roleplay here and there as well, which would be kind of cool.
So is it gonna glow around any of the party?
As Sadiq comes back to the guild house, Sadiq, no, it's not glowing currently. It is just its normal pretty self. So, as you all convene back at the guild hall, I say Alishodriss and Fairly probably awake from a bit of a nap as well, and are trying to not do a whole lot, just relax to remove that level of exhaustion you have gained. No, Naemaris. That hasn't happened yet. So that is where we're at the moment. So you're probably at the point where you're probably going to get another evening meal. We don't need to RP another evening meal and drinks. But is there anything you guys wanted to do over the course of having a meal and preparing for an evening's rest?
Yes, Head wants to go to wherever the bar counter is and get some drinks, but he's got a plan for the flask, you see.
Okay. So there's no real bar as such. You'll probably catch up with Jeremy and inform Jeremy of what you want to do, and he can probably do that for you.
Hello, Jeffrey.
Jeremy, Head. Jeremy.
Jeremy, my bad.
It's okay, everyone does it.
Have these flasks, and he holds out the line flasks.
There's one for each.
They're pretty, aren't they?
They are. Yes, they are. Just be careful with them. Anyhow, there's one for each of the team, and I mean, you bring us drinks all the time. I'd like, if you could fill these up with everyone's favorite drink and bring them back to me. That would be lovely. Can you do that right now?
Yeah, definitely. And he remembers that Alishodriss doesn't drink, so he fills hers with water. He fills Naemaris's with whiskey. Fiala, I believe, was a whiskey drinker as well. And Het, yours was
Also whiskey.
also whiskey. And I can't remember what Sadiq's was. What was
Mead.
Mead, that's right. So yours is just a mead, a honey mead, we'll say. And he then returns with those flasks all topped off, corked, and returns them back to you, Het.
Het puts all the flasks in front of him, and he has underneath each flask with his claws, he's marked 1, 2, 3, 4, so he knows exactly whose is who. And he opens up Alishodriss's flask.
Oh, God.
And he stands there for a moment. He lets out a sigh. And then he puts the lid back up, the cork back in, and he does nothing. And he goes to the table where the group is, and he says, everyone, I had these gifts made a long time back, actually, and we haven't been back to collect them for a while. Thankfully for me, the group numbers haven't changed, even though the group members have. And so here's one for each of you. And he lifts up the flask, looking at the bottom, make sure he gets the right flask to each person. One for you, Sadiq, Fiala. Naemaris, it's your favorite. And Alishodriss, I know you don't drink, so what's in there's, just for you. You don't want to mix them up, because otherwise you'll get whiskey or mead. But yes, it's like a celebration of we're a group of, do-gooders. And also, once again, I apologize for my temperament of late.
And what Het presents you with is a fine silver flask with the crest of the black lion engraved in the front, inlaid with a darker silver to show the shadow and the highlight of the lion's head. Very well crafted flasks, and yeah, they're pretty much, if you open your flasks and have a smell or a taste, you will find that it is your drink of choice that Het has presented you with.
Het, do you mind? And I raise my cup to hopefully get a frosty mug.
Does Het mind?
I don't mind. That's fine. It's quite all right. Understand.
Do you make a frosty mug? Or do you do nothing?
Just leave me hanging.
Oh, I misunderstood. Sorry. Yes. And Het makes the mug frosty.
So Het leans forward and breathes a breath of icy cold breath onto your mug, and it chills your drink perfectly.
Should we toast anything?
Up to you.
Het agrees. We should. And he lifts his flask and he says, I guess, to the lions of Valda.
Agreed.
Rower.
I was thinking, shit, people are going to leave you hanging, man. What the hell?
A very, very, knowing Het, I open the flask and I take a sip just to see if he's done something strange to it, because, it's Het.
Roll a perception check to see if he's... Anyone who is not trusting of Het, roll a perception check to see if you notice anything weird about your drink.
I'm going to trust.
That would be a 24?
24? Het, is there something weird about Sadiq's drink?
No one's drink is weird. All the drinks are as they are.
You take a sip and it tastes like a nice honey mead that you've drunk probably a few times before at the guild. No funny tastes, no funny smells, no funny business.
Yeah, so do the cheers and keep on drinking.
So as you guys sit and drink through the evening. Nothing much happens. Jeremy comes backwards and forwards as he does, cleaning tables and general duties. You, on occasion, you see the guild leader emerge from his office a couple of times and sort of gives you guys a nod before he heads out of the guild, and you don't see him again for the rest of the evening. By this point, you're probably looking about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I'd say for the most part, your day is done. Are we ready to retire for the evening?
Naemaris decides she needs to go to bed early because she got a big day tomorrow.
Naemaris heads off, and as you reach your room,
Night, y'all.
you notice that your door has been, that Alishodriss' door as you pass by has been somewhat patched. Not 100% fixed, it's kind of like a temporary fix. But it has been patched somewhat.
And I make a mental note to slip Jeffrey some gold tomorrow.
Make a mental note, of course. You head to your room, you hit the bed, and surprisingly, you find sleep relatively easily. This night, you're relatively calm, and you get a reasonably peaceful sleep. Everyone else, as you, Alishodriss, again, if you reach your room, you notice your door's been patched. It's not great. You can't really lock it, but it's closable. You also hit the bed and get probably, if you wanted to, you know that the arena battle doesn't start till about 10 a.m. So if you got roughly a full 12 hours sleep, you'd be getting really close to removing that level of exhaustion. You just have to rest for a few hours the following day to remove it. Failure the same. You know that if you hit your bed about now, you get a good night's sleep, and you'd only need a few hours of basic rest tomorrow just to finish off and remove that level of exhaustion. So do you all retire for the evening?
He would like to knock on the door of Fiala before heading to his room.
Okay, knock away.
Come in.
Hello. It is I, Hit.
I figured that out. Hi, how are you doing?
A little better today, thank you. I just wanted to say cheers for coming in and talking to me yesterday. And thanks for, thanks about the little receipt. He's like, thanks for the whatever this is. I'll be picking it up tomorrow. I have something I want to give to you as well. And he pulls the potion of resurrection out of his pack and hands it to her and says, me and you are the ones that I have noticed through this team that are keeping an eye on the life source of our teammates. But I feel like you're the one who usually is there to pick them up more as a whole, and I think you'd be better off with this than I.
I'm touched, Het. Thank you very much.
Also, it's very, very expensive, I found out today. So, yeah, I'm not really good with expensive things, and I don't want to break it. I'm just hoping you're a little more delicate than I am.
Well, I'll try my best.
Okay, good night, and he heads off.
Right, so with that, he does indeed hand you a vial, which you know to be a potion of resurrection. You, as a herbologist and dealing with that sort of stuff, you have seen a few in your time. Indeed, they are very rare and very expensive, but you now have a potion of resurrection you can add to your inventory, and it is on D&D Beyond, so easy to add to your sheet. With that, everyone retires. Sadiq, did you want to do anything before sleep?
No.
Nope. Okay. You all retire for the evening, and let's just have a quick... nothing much happens. Alishodriss, you woke up sometime during the night and think, again, you think you hear something. Check your door, you check your window, but it doesn't seem to be anything there. It was kind of weird, but you'd eventually get back to sleep. In the morning, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I would imagine that Naemaris would be the first to rise, eager to head towards the arena and prepare for the impending face pounding of Valda Grimm, the half-giant champion. The rest of you sort of rise about the same time, I'd imagine, because she ain't quiet. She definitely wants everyone to know that it's time to get up and move on and get ready, have breakfast, and do whatever you need to do to head towards the arena.
Hit would like to catch Naemaris quickly first if he can.
You can.
Excuse me, Naemaris, I've got a question.
Yes.
We heard the town crier mention you were going to be fighting today, and it's sort of come across us that you is this woman you're fighting someone you're angry with?
Well, she can be a bit of a bully, yeah.
Does he notice any change in her? Like when she says bully, is there anything he can check to see if she's straight up?
Roll perception. Actually, no, roll insight. You're more of an insight, I think.
9.
9? I think you probably notice that something's not quite right, but you can't put your finger on it. There's just something. There's definitely something different, but you're not sure.
Well, Nay, Hit has an idea. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to do it without your approval, but if you dislike this woman so much, I have in my pack a small potion that could take her ability away a little, I guess, during the match. Might give you the upper hand if you want to wail on her as such.
No, you're all right, Het, but thanks for thinking of that.
You're clear.
Try it on Alishodriss instead.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's talking about, so you can't say that. Play your character, lady.
Alright then, but no, I don't think I need any help. I don't need any help this time. I think I should be right.
That's good. Just checking. I didn't want to. I was going to take this sleeping potion and go and drop it in her morning breakfast, and then when she got to fight, you should pretty much be out, or drop it in her drink right before the fight, or something. But it was an idea. But if you're happy to wail on her unaided, that is fine. I will leave you to it. Good luck. I'm gonna have to put some money on you. I'm not a gambling man, but I've seen you fight, and yes, my money is in your court.
Right, thank you.
And with that, Hit heads wherever everyone else is here.
So usual thing. We'll probably skip over it just to get to the fighty bit because we're getting towards the end of the show here for the evening. You guys get to your breakfast, you get organised, and you'll head over to the arena. And just to give you an idea, as you guys reach the arena, this is what you guys walk into. You walk into a large oval sandy floors, large pillars, and 4 large pillars, which basically hold. It's an indoor arena, so it holds up the ceiling. It's like 150 feet high and with an open ceiling. So the sun is streaming through in the early morning down to the center of this. You got covered seating all around the outside, and you can see the 2 entrance tunnels on either side of the arena there. You guys file in and find your seats, trying to probably try and get down the front, get as close as you can to the action. There are bookies around taking bets. Essentially, maximum bet is 50 gold. If you were to bet on Naemaris, she's on essentially 2-to-1 odds. So if you put down 50, you could potentially win 100 back. And Valda Grimm is on a 3-to-1 odds, so she's actually the underdog in this, even though she's a champion. If you were to bet on Valda and she would win, you would get 150 gold back. So if you do want to gamble on this fight, you can. Just make note of who you're betting on and how much, and we can
50 on Naemaris.
We can rectify
Yeah.
that. We can conclude all that after the fight. So as you guys file in, the crowd starts to file in as well, and the crowd's starting to get really kind of noisy and rowdy. I'm just going to make a slight adjustment to camera now for the fight to bring it down a little bit closer. Just wanted to give you an overall view of the arena. So Naemaris, you you're in like the fighters area, and you are preparing yourself for the fight. You don't see Valda Grimm. You're in the opposite sides of the arena each.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Just had to adjust the camera. Make it a little bit closer there. Right, so Naemaris, you come out from the north entrance, and Valda comes out from the opposite side, the south entrance there. And she's a little bit bigger than you remember. She's a large lady. She's a half giant. She's about 7.5 feet tall. She has tribal tattoos all up her left arm, over her left shoulder, all up the left hand side of her face, and over her bald head. She has no hair. Her head is shaven. Virtually the whole left hand side of her body is in tribal tattoos. She is wearing just like leather pants with leather boots and a leather crop top type thing, and that's pretty much it. She's not wearing any armor whatsoever. You're not wearing any armor either, are you?
Nope.
So
hang on.
So you're generally wearing your usual. I mean, what armor are you wearing? Just your leather armor.
I've got a chain shirt on.
You got a chain shirt on. It's up to you to leave it on or take it off.
I think I'll leave it on for this one.
Okay, so this is a no weapons fight. This is pure hand-to-hand combat.
I put my sword swacks down.
Put your swacks away. You wouldn't have been allowed in the arena anyway. So you know it's a hand-to-hand combat. The announcer comes into the center of the arena and just raises his hands and says, "Townfolk of Valond, we are here to witness a great battle between two great opponents. Our current champion, Valda Grimm," and the crowd goes, and the crowd just erupts. Valda's been defending her championship now for 6 months and has built a bit of a following in town. She's also a member of the city guard and is reasonably well respected within the community. She is the captain of the city dungeon. She controls the city dungeons. And then he turned around and says, "And our challenger, the famous Naemaris the Bloody!" And the crowd again erupts and goes absolutely nuts. With that, you hear the guy raises his hand and then he steps back and drops his hand, and a loud gong. Gong! And the battle has begun. Naemaris, I'll get you to roll initiative for me, please.
14.
14. You will get the initiative. So, Naemaris, you are first in this battle.
Alright, I rage.
You rage. You rage, and everyone. Go to here. When the moment she hits the arena and the gong hits, you watch. You're reasonably close enough to see it, and Naemaris' whole demeanor just changes. Her brow furrows, she looks intently at Valda, and then she just cries out in the most guttural growl that you've probably ever heard, and she just rages. Her eyes glow that brilliant red, and what do you do, Naemaris?
I run up and I hit
charge
at
at
her. I'm charging at her and I'm going for, I try to hit her with a 17. 18.
Well, you can only get that far, because she's all the way across the other side of the arena. But for all intents and purposes, she charges at you anyway, and at the same time. So you're literally going to clash in the center of the arena. So you can both sort of get there. And what are you going to do?
I'm going to attack her with an 18.
What are you going to do, though? How are you going to attack her? You're not just going to attack her.
With my fist.
How?
I'm going to punch her. I'm going to
Explain
go
it.
for that uppercut. I'm running in and I'm Going for her face.
So you're going to run in and try a running uppercut?
Yep.
With an 18 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
That does hit.
She takes 4 damage.
So you got to do that plus your strength. So your unarmed strike plus
7.
your strength. So it's 7.
7.
Damage. So as Naemaris charges in, you guys watch as she just almost like a locomotive, just charging forward and comes in with a massive uppercut, catches Valda off guard and cracks her right under the jaw. And you hear this audible thwack as she's rocked backwards. Even though Naemaris is that much shorter than Valda, she's able to extend her body and put all her weight behind this punch. And does 7 points of bludgeoning damage to Valda, who sort of rocks back on her feet and then sort of gives her head a bit of a shake and looks down at Naemaris and just grins with this real condescending, missing tooth grin. Is that your turn, Naemaris?
That's my turn.
So with that, Grimm turns and looks and you sort of shakes her head a little bit, looks down at you and says, "Is that all you've got?" And she rages. She stands up to her full height, puffs her chest out, and then just leans down and goes, "Ugh!" and flexes every muscle in her upper torso. Massive biceps, massive pecs, abdominal muscles rippling. And she goes into a rage and she attacks you. First off, an overhand right as she comes down, right hand side, the first attack, and rolls a 16 to hit.
And that hits.
So she cracks you with that overhand right, which will do also 7 points of bludgeoning damage, halved because of your rage. The second attack, she comes up with the underhand left into the ribcage. With a... I think she misses with that one with a 12.
Oh, that's a miss.
So a 12 misses. So you sort of get caught with that overhand right. And as she comes in with the left hand, you sort of see it coming. You sort of dodge just to one side a little bit. With that, you see what we got as she in that time as she raged and sort of steps back and gets back into a stance ready to attack you again. You watch her hands change. Her fingernails grow to these claw-like talons, and her hands become a little bit more hairy than usual. Really strange, but it doesn't really... You're raging, it doesn't really bother you too much, but you've definitely taken notice of this change in her shape. So with that is her action. Her bonus action, she is not going to move. She's going to stand toe-to-toe with you and duke it out. It is now your turn.
I look at her, and I'm kind of looking her up and down while I'm raging. And I'm going to go for a hit to the solar plexus.
So you're going to go for a palm strike, a fist?
Fist,
just a straight punch to the breadbasket?
Yep. And I get her with a 19 to hit.
That definitely hits.
And does 7 damage.
And does 7
9
damage? 9 damage?
Raging.
That's right, plus 2 for your rage. As a reaction, what we got here? As a reaction, she sees you sort of coming and flexes her abdominal muscles, and she reduces that damage by 5. So, what was the total damage? 9. Down to 4, halved to 2 because she's raging. So she only takes 2 damage for that one. And you sort of go, oh, she hits it, and you go, oh, and you feel that, just that tenseness in her stomach, and you know she hasn't taken anywhere near the damage that should have done, and that frustrates you a little bit. You gonna move? You gonna stick with her?
I'm gonna stick with her, and I'm just gonna snarl.
Snarl. So she looks back at you and snarls back, and she's now going to circle around you. She's not going to leave your range, but she's going to circle around to one side, and she's going to attempt a thigh kick. And come in, and she's going to kick you right in that thigh muscle, kickboxer style. She's just going to come in there with a first attack. First attack is a natural 20. I swear, no, without a word of a lie, people. Natural 20. And just to prove it to you guys in there in lands, we got a natural 20 on there. Haven't touched it, haven't moved it. So the first strike does 7 plus 2, so it's 9 points of bludgeoning damage, half to 4 because of your rage. The second attack, she's going to rake her hand across your chest with a critical fail, so she misses. You sort of see this big hand come, and you can see the talons, and you think, oh, I don't want a bar of that, and you sort of step back a bit, sort of arch your body so that those claws just miss your upper torso there, and she misses on that attack. So now it is your turn, Naemaris.
I'm going to go for a headbutt to the nose.
Headbutt to the nose. So you're going to reach up and grab her by the ears and slam a headbutt into her face. Roll to attack. What was your attack?
My attack was... My attack was 15 to hit.
What to hit, sorry?
15.
15? So yeah, you reach up and you just grab her by the back of the head and slam your forehead right into her face. Roll your damage.
That'll be 9.
There is no rolling of damage, right? It's automatic every time. So 9 points of bludgeoning damage as you smash your forehead into hers, and which is half to 4 because she is raging. And with that, she sort of staggers back a little bit, and sort of you see her sort of shake her head a little bit, like she's been a little bit stunned and dazed, but this doesn't quite seem to have affected her too much. She again looks back at you, and she reaches forward with an attempt to grapple you. So a strength v strength roll, please.
$17.
17. She rolled. No, she doesn't get it. So she misses the grapple altogether with that first attack. And sort of, you're a little bit more wiry than she is, and she wasn't quite able to grab it. But on the second attack, she's going to do it recklessly, so she will gain advantage on the attack. But you'll also gain advantage on your next attack against her. So, second attack is a hit with a dirty 20. So you'll take 4 points of bludgeoning damage again. And as she comes again, misses with that grapple, and then sort of slams you with a short elbow across the side of the cheekbone.
Dirty play.
Your turn, Naemaris. What do you do next?
I try to get her in an arm.
An arm? You're going to try to go for an armbar.
Gonna try and break her arm.
So what we'll do for that, roll an athletics check first, or acrobatics, sorry.
18.
18 for the acrobatics. So yeah, you managed to, like you see in the octagon or anything like that, Naemaris just sort of runs up, almost like she runs up the body of Valda, and then spins over her arm, grabs her arm, and comes back down, legs across the neck and chest of Valda, arm grasped across her chest, and then wrenches back. Make a strength check for me.
A 16.
Ooh, not quite. You pull back with all your might, but Valda's arms are big and strong, and she seems to be holding you right there. You have her in a bit of a grapple right now. She can't sort of attack you heavily, so she'll only get one attack this next round. But she's a lot stronger than you thought she was. But you have got her in this grapple, so you could probably attempt another arm break next round if you wanted to. So with that, Valda tries to break the grapple first off. So strength v strength, please.
Dirty 20.
She cannot break the grapple. She tries hard to break that grasp and you just can't break it. But she reaches over with her other hand and just attempts to punch in the face with her other arm. 15 to hit.
15 hit.
So you take another 4 points of bludgeoning damage. I've already reduced it, so that's 4. As she sort of punches you right in the bottom of the chin. And sort of, as she does that, she rocks back again, keeps struggling. You're still struggling with trying to break that armbar. So what do you do next? Do you want to try to bust her arm again, or...
Well, I've got her arm in the arm bar. I'm going to try near in the...
with the position you're in, you're probably more likely to heel strike her in the face.
That'll be fine.
Yes, Nutty is raging. So, Naemaris, you see her raise her heel up and bring it, slamming it down onto Valda's face. Roll to hit.
17.
That hits. That's another 4 points of bludgeoning damage as Naemaris slams a heel into Valda's face. And you see a cut open up just below the left eye as she gets slammed with that heel kick. Still holding the grapple?
I'm still holding the grapple.
Right, Valda is going to attempt to break that grapple again with a strength check of 17. Strength
we're even because I got a strength check
17 as well. So it's sort of not enough to break the grasp, holding it and sort of fighting back, almost like a bit of an arm wrestle going on. But with again, she fires back and attempts to bite your leg, and bites down on your leg with a 19. And so that'll be 4 points of piercing damage, and I'll get you to make a Constitution save to see if you can hold that grapple.
Girls, they always biting.
9.
9. You indeed release your grip. She bites down to the meaty part of your calf.
Sorry, that's a lie. 12.
Still fails.
Damn it.
She bites down to the meaty part of the calf of your calf and just sinks her teeth in, drawing blood. And you cry out in pain, even though the pain doesn't really register because you're raining, but it's enough to get you to release that grasp. And with that, she uses half her movement to stand up, and she's now standing over you. So it's now back to your turn.
And try and kick her legs out from underneath her.
Ooh, trying to leg sweep. Roll to hit.
19.
That does hit, so I'll get you to roll a strength check just a strength check as well. What was the strength check?
5.
So you definitely strike her in the leg, but it's not enough to knock her down. And so that'll be another 4 points of damage off her as well. So yeah, Naemaris is laying prone, and she just sweeps that leg around and catches Valda in the thigh, in the lower calf, but not quite enough energy in it to knock her down. Valda then, standing over you, attempts to stomp on your chest. One great big first attack with a big stomp attack. Natural 20 again. Wow. So that will be 8 points of bludgeoning damage total.
All right.
And that's not halved. I mean, that is halved. That's the total damage you'll take. With the second attack, she will attempt to do the same thing with the other foot. With a 14.
That just hit.
That hits. So you will take another 4 points of bludgeoning damage as she stomps down again. 2 stomps right on the chest. Bang, bang. There's a big half-giant foot slamming down on your chest. And then she, again, just stands over you and says, "You've got nothing. You'll be nothing." And that is her turn. Back to you.
Is there different levels of rage, by the way?
No.
I look at her and I'm like, nothing, my arse.
Do you stand up?
do.
So half your movement to stand back up again.
And then I'm going to go for her neck. I'm going to go for her throat with the front.
Throat punch. Go for it.
16?
That hurts.
Whew.
So another 4 points of bludgeoning damage as Naemaris reaches up and just slams her right in the throat, right in the Adam's apple, if she was a guy. And this rocks Valda a little bit. She sort of staggers back half a step, grips her throat, and says, and sort of gives that real strained cough, trying to say something, but she just can't really say anything right now. And looks back at you, Naemaris, and grabs you, or attempts to grapple you, in an attempt to belly-to-belly suplex you. He's going to try and pick you up and throw you over his shoulders. So the first will be a strength v strength, which is...
Well, I got an 8, so anything's
An
got to
eight.
be better than that.
She got a 9. so she manages to reach around and almost bear hug you, grabs you around the waist. Another strength v strength to see if she can...
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. 23. I rolled a natural 19. Sorry, Naemaris, but Valda grabs you around the waist, locks her hands, and then lifts you up and throws you over her head as she rolls backwards. And you literally go flying and land prone about 10 feet behind her as she turns and looks at you and just sort of tries to laugh, but that shot to the throat, that comes out more of a raspy sort of bit of a cough.
Shake it off, Naemaris, shake it off!
You do take 4 points of bludgeoning damage with that as well. So it is now back to your turn.
I get up, and I'm going to go... How far away am I from her?
You're 10 feet from her, so you'd have to move to get back into...
I'm going to get back into melee combat.
You move back into melee combat, definitely.
And I'm going to try and rip her throat out with my teeth.
You're going to try and bite her, rip her throat out with your teeth. So, roll to hit, definitely.
That's a nat 20.
Natural 20. So that will be 8 points of piercing damage. I'd say you probably wouldn't rip her throat out, but you definitely... all you guys made a bet, 50 gold each. You sort of run at her and sort of almost climb up her body, and you just reach in and bite into where you think the jugular vein is, and you bite down as hard as you can, and she's flailing around trying to throw you off, and you just sink your teeth in, and she takes 8 points of piercing damage. And she's not looking happy. She's pretty upset with you right now. And with her turn, with her movement, she's going to attempt to throw you off. So she'll make a strength check. She succeeds. So she pushes you off, and you sort of drop, not prone, but back down to the ground in front of her. She then makes 2 attacks at you with her fists, both reckless, so she gets advantage on both. First one is a natural 20. Second is a 15.
That hit.
So the first one will be, again, 8 points of slashing damage as she rakes those talon-like fingernails across your midsection. And the second attack will be 4 points of slashing damage as she comes back across the other side. So you now have 4 or 5 large gashes across your midsection.
Right, I'm going to attempt to break her finger.
You attempt to break her fingers? What are we going to do with that?
Let her win.
Yeah, let her win. We've got money
You're
on
going to have
this.
to try and grapple her first. So it'll be strength v strength.
A 21.
You get the grapple, so I'll allow the grapple as part of your movement. And if you want to try and break her fingers, it'd be another strength check.
$17.
17. With that, you grapple onto one of her arms, and she's struggling away with you, and you sort of grab her index finger, and you grab it, and you just push it back, and you hear this almighty snap, as her index finger is now pointing 90 degrees in the opposite direction that it should be.
Ow.
And
Yikes.
she looks at you and she grits her teeth. You can see that it hurt, but she's not letting you really see it. And she's now reduced to 1 attack with that. And she'll also take the 4 points of damage.
Get it,
Nice
girl.
one, Naemaris. That was well done. Valda then turns round to you, grappled with one arm. Don't forget, when she's reckless, you have advantage on the attack as well.
All right, yep.
She uses her other hand now, again, to try and rake across your face, and comes back at you with a single attack with an 18. So I believe that hits.
That hit.
So you take 4 points of slashing damage as she rakes those talons across your face, opening up 3 big wounds, big open cuts across down from your ear, down your left cheek, and partway down your neck. Back to you. She's still grappled in one arm, by the way.
With that grappled arm, I'm going to try and snap it.
You can try and snap another finger.
The arm.
You're going to try and snap the arm. Okay, so make a strength check again.
17 again.
Rolled an 18. So, yeah, she's just... as you go to try and break the arm this time, putting pressure on the elbow, she presses back and you just don't quite have the leverage that you were hoping. That will probably have to be your whole action, putting all that effort in to try and break the arm. So with that, she's going to try and break the grapple. Strength v strength again. You rolled a 21.
But it's
That
getting
was
exciting,
even.
Drax.
Oh,
Even?
did I?
So it's
Yep.
even. Oh, wow. So grapple doesn't break. Have a good one, Drax. So
Hi,
she's
Drax.
just going to, again... I should try and break it again. So strength v strength for a second time. For a second action. Dirty 20.
She breaks it that time.
So she pulls free of the grapple and sort of clutches her hand and looking at the finger, literally pointing, like I said, 90 degrees in the opposite direction. And she just, that's pretty much her whole turn. She just holds her hand and looks up at you and sort of, not as growly as she was before, but you can tell that she's not happy and she really wants to end this very soon. So back to you, your turn.
Right, I am going to... Seeing how unhappy she is, I'm going to attempt to get her around the neck and break.
You're gonna try and you want to try and get behind her and get her into like a guillotine choke or something.
Yep.
Probably in front of her. So you want to try a guillotine choke? Okay, let's. So that again will be strength v strength for the grapple.
21.
20. So you do indeed. As you reach up, you sort of half pie run up her body, and you hook your arm around the back of her head and up under her chin, and then you lock it in by grabbing your wrist and start pulling upwards. You won't be able to complete it this round.
Damn it! I just
But
rolled for it as well.
She'll take the damage, but that'll be your whole action just to get up the body and apply the hold. So she's definitely in the hold. Next turn, you can do the strength check to see whether indeed you choke her out.
Right.
So it is now her turn. She's going to try and attempt to break that grapple. She's going to try and break out of it. What she's going to do is she's going to attempt to firstly attempt to grab and break the hold, which she fails. And turn, she's going to rake her claws across your forearm, which fails as well. God damn it.
That stringer hold is also...
So yeah, she just can't seem to focus on what she's doing. She can't find a good spot to grab. And so back to you, Naemaris. You take no damage that round. Actually, could you DM me the hit points you're at?
I already have.
Oh, you have? Okay. And so now with you've got that hold locked in. One more strength v strength to see if you can apply enough pressure to
20.
drop her to a knee.
Nat 20. 23.
23 was even.
Are you joking?
No. So with that, you pull back and you pull that pressure up, and you can hear her struggling to breathe, and she's just not quite going down. You're putting all that effort in, and she's just not. She's resisting. You can feel the muscles tensing in her neck. That was weird, man. These rolls. With that would be your turn. Her turn again. Single attack. She's going to try and break that hold somehow. Try and twist your body a little bit. Try and break it out. So strength v strength. She got a 2.
I got a 10.
So you still hold it. You've got the hold. She can't move. She can't really do anything. Back to you for, again, strength v strength to see if you can hold that choke.
I don't think so. This time I only got 10.
15 for her. So she, again, you apply the pressure on the hold once more, and she's just tensing the muscles in her neck, and you just can't seem to get the leverage. I would say by now you're starting to get a little bit tired of holding the hold. Can I get you to make a con save to see if you can hold that chokehold?
$12.
Unfortunately, you fail the check, and your muscles, after trying to apply that chokehold 3 times now, your muscles are starting to get tired, and you have no choice but to release it and drop back down to the ground. So with that, we're back to Valda's turn. She's only down to 1 attack. She's going to do so recklessly, and this time, instead of trying to rake it with those claws, she's going to return the favor and come down with that mighty forehead and try and smash you in the face. Which she does so with a 22 to hit.
Woo!
So she reaches down with that one good arm, and her big mitt hand reaches around the back of your head and just slams her forehead into your face, and you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage. It is now back to you. Your attack also has advantage.
I look at her and I'm gonna go for the throat again. With my teeth.
You're going to try and bite her in the throat again. Go! So remember, it's an advantage.
Yeah, well, I just rolled the same 2 dice twice.
So what was the roll?
I got a dirty 20.
The dirty 20, and you're telling me that's no good?
No, dirty 25.
How do you get a dirty 25 and that's no good?
Well, no, the first one was... My first roll was a 3.
So how do you get a dirty 25 if because your attack is only 6, you rolled a 19
On
the second.
advantage. No, 15.
But it's only plus 6, so it's not a dirty 25, it's a dirty 22.
Plus proficiency.
Plus what?
Proficiency.
You don't add your proficiency to your attack.
You are proficient with your unarmed strike.
So you don't add your proficiency to it, though. It's already factored into your...
Well,
hit
22
DC.
then.
Jesus, like, you've been adding that the whole time.
No. I just read it then and went, oh!
Yeah, it's all in your hit DC. It's all part of it. But yeah, so you do hit. She takes another 4 points of piercing damage as you tried to bite her throat again.
Yeah.
You sink your teeth into her throat once more, this time actually opening a wound.
Is it getting vicious?
And
Sadiq, she may be a vampire, I'm not sure.
and the blood is now trickling down the neck of Valda as Naemaris takes a giant chunk of meat out of this beast's neck. Is now Valda's turn.
She's just been seeing Fiala
I like
too
the
often.
animal. I like this animal side of her.
Valda now turns to you and says, "Time to die." And she reaches, sort of put her arm out in front of you and comes down with a massive forearm right across the top of your chest. Reckless as well, with a 16.
Hit.
She deals another 4 points of bludgeoning damage as she slams you to the ground, and you're also prone as she hits you with that giant forearm across your chest and just knocks you clean off your feet. So you are now prone. You'll need to use half your movement to get back up again, but it is back to you.
I am going to try and get a hold of that wound that I just made and open it even
You're just going to go for another bite attack.
with my hand.
Are you going to try and put your hand in it? Okay. Well, both you're going to try and literally put both hands in it and open the wound.
I'm going to try and put both hands in it and
Oh,
open the
wow.
wound.
This is getting grotty, people.
Body.
I didn't think it was to the death.
It's not supposed to be. 26.
26 to hit.
So you got a natural 20.
Yep.
So don't tell me you got 26 to hit if you got a natural 20. So that'll be
20.
that'll be 8 points of kind of piercing damage, I guess. As you reach your hands in to the wound, your fingers sink into the knuckles, and you just pull with all your might. Oh, that's disgusting. You watch as Valda sinks to one knee with this attack. So she's almost now down at eye level with you. Do you say anything to her at this point?
This is why they call me Naemaris.
You were
the
too
bloody.
quiet and no one heard you.
I said, and this is why they call me Naemaris, the blood.
And with that, con save, and she fails the con save. She passes out cold. Her eyes roll back in her head, and she falls back, and just hits the sand, and that like that sort of sound, and the dust sort of goes poof, as this huge body just falls flat backwards. And the announcer comes running out from the side and sort of leans over Valda and looks back at you, looks back at Valda, looks back at you, and comes over to you and raises your hand. And we have a new champion! Naemaris the Bloody! And the crowd goes wild. The whole crowd just erupts as Valda has been taken down in an amazing but bloody brawl. And Naemaris has certainly earned her nickname Naemaris the Bloody this day. And with that, we are out of initiative. And Naemaris you are now crowned the champion of the arena. With that comes a purse of 500 gold.
Ooh.
And obviously bragging rights to the championship, but you also have an obligation to defend your championship in a month's time. Every month you must defend your championship against a challenger.
Sweet.
So that is the end of that combat round, ladies and germs. We'll come back to our main scene here. So those that bet on Naemaris, you got extremely lucky because Naemaris was on 1 HP.
Down to 1
I
HP.
That's insane.
I didn't think she had it. I thought it was over.
I thought, put it this way, Valda at that point was on 6 HP, but she failed a con save, which made her bleed out and pass out. So one more attack, Naemaris was over. It would have been the other way around, but the failed con save led Naemaris to win that battle. So those who bet on Naemaris was at 2-1. So your 50 gold you get back plus another 100.
Excellent fight. Absolutely brutal.
Well
I can still
done.
smell the blood.
Well done, Naemaris, with that battle there, winning the arena, becoming the champion. A little worse for wear. She's on 1 HP, so she's as she leaves the arena, she's feeling a little bit grotty. The arena clerics will heal you back to let's see, 80% of your max HP. So you were at 68 max HP, so you'll be back to 40. You'll need to take a long rest to recover the rest. So Naemaris returns to you guys. She meets you outside the arena as people disperse and head home, cheering. You see people like almost like after a Rocky movie. They're outside imitating what they've just seen, sort of with their friends, throwing the old punches and and making biting movements and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, what you guys meet up with Naemaris outside the arena? What are you doing?
I'm gonna go run up to her and give her a huge hug, but carefully, because she's hurt.
So yeah, so Fiona comes up and gives you a big bear hug, a gentle bear hug, as not to hurt any of the bruising and stuff that you do still have.
I'm looking at her going, I'm covered in blood. I'm like, thanks, but I'm not gonna hug you back because I've gotta go and find a bat.
Well played, Naemaris. It was a great fight. Remind me never to get on your wrong side.
Thanks.
I say she was laughing, but you couldn't hear it because you didn't press the button.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So, anyone else want to say anything to Naemaris before we finish up for the evening? We've got about 5 minutes left of the show.
We should go celebrate.
After a bath.
So, yeah, well, we can skip it forward to there. Naemaris, you find a bathhouse and you take a long, hot soaking your bruises and your wounds and everything else. Which inn did you guys want to go celebrate in? Do you want to go back to the guild house or you want to go to an inn?
I don't care what they're doing. I'm going back to the guild house. I'm relaxing.
You want to what now? Oh, you still need to relax. Yes, Fiona does too.
Oh, I thought he said he wanted some waxing.
That's what I thought. I thought, well, you're mind you, he's an elf. I mean, kind of makes sense.
Hey.
He's a male elf. Male elves wax too, you know. Anywho, so inn or guild house, guys, make a decision.
Naemaris picked. She's the winner.
I look at them all and I'm like, let's go guild house.
So
Excellent call.
So if you head back to the guild house and rest for another night, because I mean, Fiona and Alishodriss, you haven't really done much today. You've just been hanging out with friends and things like that. So if you complete this long rest, your levels of exhaustion will be removed.
Yay!
So we will have you back at the guild house to celebrate, relax of the evening, and we'll pick up their next show. We'll pick up the morning after. So mark you guys down as a long rest now. So you don't have to worry about doing it at the start of the next show. XP for this evening. Naemaris, you'll get a little bit more than everybody else because obviously the fight. But for role-playing and just the general show, we're going to be 700 XP for everyone. And Naemaris, you will get an extra 500 for your extra 1,000, for your battle with Valda and gaining your championship.
Yay, Naemaris!
So that is it for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. That is our show. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you to the players. An amazing show tonight. Awesome roleplay. Naemaris, great battle at the end there. Well done on your win. Was very, very close. Very, very close. Put it this way: when I rolled that character, she had one less hit point than you did.
Shit.
But because she had the double attacks, she was able to do a little bit more damage, which was part of her. She went totem of something else. I can't remember, but it wasn't. So because of that, she had the extra attack. But yeah, that was very cool.
Naemaris' hit point to 1. I thought, there goes that potion of resurrection.
Well, she wouldn't have been killed. It would have been dropped to unconsciousness. But yeah, I was thinking, oh crap. And I'd already decided that if Naemaris was going to continue with this whole opening wound, like biting and opening wounds, there had to be a bleeding factor involved, especially a neck wound. So I made the decision about two or three attacks prior that if she attacked that wound again, I was going to make a con save to see if Valda bled out and became unconscious. and set the DC already in my head, and she failed it miserably. She rolled like a 3, so it was like, crap.
Hey, mate, come on. Having someone put their fingers in your neck and prying it apart.
I know, even though she was raging, I mean, it was like, holy crap, man, that's brutal. That was just some nasty stuff.
I loved it.
So, as I say, with that chat, we're going to call it there. Don't forget the VOD will be available on the YouTube probably on Tuesday. So if you did miss bits and pieces tonight, or if you want to just catch up and review what happened tonight, definitely go check it out on the YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell so you get notifications whenever we post videos. We do post live gaming videos as well. We do highlights of some of the gaming streams, funny and cool moments from that. So yeah, apart from that, everyone have a great evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it. I will see you all on Tuesday with some live gaming. I've decided this Tuesday we'll be doing some Rainbow Six. So all you Rainbow Sixes out there, come and hang out with us. We'll do casuals to begin with, and if we get enough numbers and we decide to, we might do some customs. But until then, have a great evening. Look after yourselves. Stay cold. It's so hot in here. It's crazy. Catch you later.